Hello, 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 good people, and welcome back to Happy, Healthy, Whole with Sharea. This is episode 3 of dealing with stress towards the end of the year. And today we're going to talk about setting boundaries with our families and friends and really starting to look at how do we do this during the holidays and how do we do this in general, because it's important that we do so. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. And if it's something that you learn or something that you believe that you get from this, send it also to someone else that could also benefit from it. So welcome back. Like I said, we're going to talk about boundaries and setting boundaries with our families and friends. This time of the year is literally social gathering after social gathering. And it could feel great, but on the other hand, it could also feel challenging if boundaries are being disrespected or not respected when you are trying to set them around what you can handle or what you can deal with related to gathering in a positive mindset or in a positive way. And so we know that family sometimes, depending on our different cultures and backgrounds, we look at it differently, right? But the good thing is we get to choose, and as we get older, have identified families that are maybe not just biological, but also friends as well. And so, really, when we think about this from the perspective of you really got to know, you really have to know already what or who you need to place boundaries on around your energy, your space, your ability to show up and or be your best self in relationships to those in your life. And so before we even get to the tips, my thought is for you to really assess who are we talking about when we talk about family and friends who need boundaries placed on them around this time of the year. It also might be boundaries that you've placed earlier on this year that you just need to reinforce. So, for example, you might be going to a family gathering and there's that uncle or aunt that you just said, I'm no longer dealing with. You're not going to be disrespectful or try to be ignorant or anything, but you might stay on the other side of the room, say your hellos, and then move on to your cousins or your friends on the other or your other family members that might be on a different side of the space. It's really about being able to stay within your boundaries, communicate your boundaries, but also understanding that you have a right to them. So you should have the right to decide who or who you want to be around, but also how long you want to be around them and how you want to be around them. So there are some people who we could share the same exact space and I don't say a word because it just isn't worth my energy and or constant negativity isn't my thing. So I have to do what's best for me without trying to change and or tell someone that they can't show up or be who they are. So that's my just general, let's learn to set our boundaries. But now let's give you some tips. The first thing I say when I am thinking about this time of the year around family gatherings is plan time and be clear. Decide ahead of time, like if you are going with your partner and you are knowing you're going to your family and you know that things can get late into the night, you need to decide ahead of time how much time you literally want to spend at this gathering and stick to it. If you can only stay for a couple hours, let the host know ahead of time. Let your auntie, your cousins, let them know, hey, I'm going to come through, but I got to leave by 10. Whatever the case is, let them know ahead of time. It keeps things flexible and it lets you avoid being overwhelmed, and or when you get to that place and it only take an hour before you can't handle these folk or it's just too much to have to deal with after an hour. To me, if I'm clear up front and I'm communicating clearly to those people, like, I love my family, but maybe I don't want to spend the whole day with them. Maybe I want to do some other things after. So really just kind of communicating that up front, like, here's my time frame, here's what I'm going to be able to do. You ain't got to get into the whys and the what the reason is. You just have to be clear from the jump, which means number 2 tip is communicate your personal boundaries. If there's topics you're not comfortable talking about, now is the time to say so. Life, work, family, personal life, there might be things that you are just not willing to get into, to try to have a discussion about with people who are going to be negative and or not have a positive growth related conversation with you. So just really think about it. Like, what's off limits for me? I'm not going to talk politics. I'm not going to talk religion with people. Whatever the case is, Know your topics of what you can handle or what you can discuss. And then gently, every now and then, communicate this to your family and friends. Like, let them know, you said something like, or, well, no, because that'd be setting a boundary, excuse me. You might say something like, I'd rather focus on catching up than discussing the politics of today. Saying something that gets you off that subject, that moves you to where you feel comfortable, can help communicate your boundaries to your actual family and friends on the spot. Take breaks as you need it. So literally almost this season in the holidays, you need to know how to take breaks. It is okay to step away for a few minutes during a gathering to recharge. So I used to like walk outside, get some fresh air, go to my car, sit in the car for a second, whatever the case is, do whatever you need to do to establish this level of boundary that lets you get some of the energy back down or calm yourself, or to get from feeling like it's too much to maybe I can handle it a little bit better. So a quick walk around the block. And it's also probably healthy too, depending on if you're celebrating around different types of foods and unhealthy foods, that we might need to actually take that walk for good reasons, and consider doing it alone if you need to. Well, my point being here is take the breaks you need. Taking the breaks you need allows you to free yourself from feeling the stress, from feeling the anxiety of trying to be perfect in the home and with your family. It is okay for you to just take a break and say, it's all good, but I'm going to take a little time out for me, or I'm just going to take a step back, take some deep breaths, and try again. So remember, boundaries during this season are extremely important. When we want to enjoy the season like everybody else, we have to know what we can endure and what we can handle. If stress is getting heightened, put boundaries up on yourself as well as those in your lives. I know that we have one more week of this topic related to handling stress during the holidays. And next week, I'm going to talk about prioritizing your mental health in the holiday season. All right. Take good care of yourselves. Like and subscribe and share if you must. All right. Be well.